I guess we can start. Welcome to the next talk. We have Vitali Poboda and case study integrating Plone CMS and Django app. Give Vitali an applause. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good to see you here. My last conference I was like 2008 in 2014 in Bristol. We'll try to talk a bit louder. So. Today I want to present you our old case study, but which might be a bit unusual, integrating Django with Plone, with server-side includes. I don't know if anybody did that before, so might be interesting for some specific edge case scenarios in your companies, in your organizations. So might be interesting. It's not like for everybody, but might be interesting. I'm Vitali Poboda, CEO of Softformers EU, a talent-based software development agency. I was programming. I started, Plone was my first job, my first programming experience. I was self-taught programmer, Python, Plone, HTML, CSS. It all happened in one time in 2005. Been contributing to Plone, and now I'm part of marketing team since a couple months ago, after emailing Astrid with a few YouTube videos on Plone CMS, and now I'm here standing and presenting.
The quickest way.
Yeah. So I was not that active that much, like since 2015-16 in the community, and wanted to rejoin. I will tell a bit more tomorrow about that. Right now we are a team of 35 people, maybe having 10% of our things Plone CMS related, not because we didn't have enough demand back in 2016, but more because we had different requests for more from scratch software, SaaS, digitalization ERP system from scratch, laboratory R&D, so we kind of doing different things. That project that I'm presenting, it's that my team helped me because at that time I was not coding. That project is back from 2020. This sub-project, specific case study, and also before we jump straight into the content, I want to advertise tomorrow's talk. I want invite each of you there, because tomorrow in the morning, Timo presented very great talk, insights into technical product Plone for the future, and he mentioned that as a business owner, there are some issues. So, and we are missing that part. So tomorrow I will try to fulfill on the second part. How do we manage Plone community as business owners and try to push it, move the needle there. So I will try to share my insights. That will be tomorrow in Auditorium 1, big one, at 12:15. Growing Plone, please, you're welcome. Yeah, the project itself that I'm going to present real quick, we'll try to keep up with the deadline. It's just help. It started like more like news, media, content, kind of project back in 2009, based on Plone for rehabs for mental health treatment. Client was from Berlin, Germany, but the market initially was United States. Later on, we extended versions to UK, Canada, and a couple other countries. And the specific case study of integration with Django, what we did happen started with 2019, 2020. So that project is still alive and we still support it a bit. We've been doing a lot of different functions implemented in this project, but the issue was that at some point we found that Plone is stretched at that time. Our agency, Softformers, started as Plone-only agency, so we never knew something else. So whatever client asked us to do, we just been pushing and trying to stretch. So as an example, you can see a director of experts. You can imagine we developed kind of small lean version of Stack Overflow on Plone. It was crazy. So all these people here, they have their own cabinets, managing profile, answering questions in their cabinets. Visitors can ask questions. It's all part of Plone interface. It was very hard to do, and it was time-consuming, and at some point it was like very hard to maintain at the end, because at the end CMS is not the best option for Stack Overflow, or maybe not from the content side. Database was very good for that, but the user cabinets authentication part granular permission things for this kind of project, it was a stretch, at least back at that time. So after we tried this sub-project experts directory, and we had a lot of pain there, in 2019, client came back to us, okay guys, can you also now implement for me another big thing, section on the this media portal, rehabs directory. Hundreds of rehabs. We are adding them at the beginning, but each rehab owner can claim their profile there, log in to the dashboard and manage their content there, tons of photos and content. It was like a lot. It's a whole hierarchy, URL structure. And now we were very hesitant. Do we actually want to keep stretching the Plone CMS for that task? So we've been thinking about that, and what we came up at that time, 2019, we added Django to our technology stack apart from Plone, and been doing a lot of applications from scratch, like marketplaces, SaaS products, ERPs and CRM systems from scratch, custom done for businesses, and it was like very obvious decision. No, we want to implement it from scratch. It doesn't fit CMS workflow. So the next natural question was, in that case, how do we integrate it back? Because client didn't want that as a subdomain. He wanted like everything in one place as a kind of feeling of the same website, same look and feel, same styling, and it was very hard for us. So what we came up with, actually what we considered, what options we considered. First, in 2020, please have a seat. In 2020, we had first version of Volto integrated with Plone, right? And we've been considering Volto and React in general, and it was not a good option because Volto would make us rewrite all the front end, and the project at that point was more than 10 years old with hundreds of pages, templates, and it was like a lot of efforts. Client was not up for such a big investment. So we decided not to go this road. Also, Volto was pretty new for us, and we were hesitant to suggest this to client for such a big project. Again, maybe just clean React.js, same issue. It just needs rewriting all the front end. On the other side, React can do the work because you can, on your web page, you can make requests to Django and to Plone and kind of pull data from both servers for one page, right? But, hello, please take a seat. But the amount of effort would be enormous. So one more thing, who knows Django, Plone app theming, who used that? Yeah, we also been using that a lot at that time before Volto, and we thought maybe this one. It had all the things we needed, but how it was implemented within Plone was a bit different than what we needed. We had template, and that through that template we are pushing Plone content to fill up the squares, the blocks. But in our case, we wanted content from Django database, not from Plone, and it was vice versa. And we started to brainstorm with our developers, how can we customize? And again, that customization would be probably not that easy and complex. So we came up with very similar approach to Django, but which will do the work. We had one of our developers on our team had experience with server-side includes. Back then it was Apache on the project, and we switched to Nginx. Both of them can do SSI. So he suggested maybe we can do like something like Django, but Nginx will do for us and the way we want. So we will have a page which is kind of with some blocks of these pages are coming from Plone, other blocks of these pages would come from Django. And server-side includes, basically you can see it's this tag that is pulling data from the other, it's a view that will give us HTML code, which Nginx will put back to template that came from the other system. So we can take Django and put that into Plone or vice versa. So how that look like? This is the example of the rehab profile page. You can see in red we have blocks that being coming from Plone. User toolbar, header, footer colophon, large site portlets back that time, and then we have green blocks. which come from Django. Yeah, this content comes from Django. How does it work from the inside? This is the request flow. It's a bit more complex than regular. In regular setup, you have a browser going to Nginx, then Plone, back, that's it, right? But what we did for /rehab, we had a Django server, and Nginx will do the request to Django. Django will give back the full template, and in that template we'll have some bits of this snippets, include snippets which are referencing Plone view, and that will make Nginx go to Plone now for each of these blocks a couple of times, for header, for colophon, ask Plone for, please give me that HTML for these blocks, and we'll get back to these blocks will be returned to Nginx, and Nginx will cook the final HTML code, full template with all the blocks plus these extra SSI inclusions from Plone back to the user. A bit strange. Now the question, probably you might have, Vitaly, why Django fetches Plone snippets and not the other way around? Who knows the answer? It's not intuitive, right? When I already forgot about this thing. For this presentation, I talked to our developer that explained that to me, because I thought that Plone would serve everything and then just pull some blocks from Django. But that doesn't work. Why? Because and this is our rewrite. I guess this is from Nginx, right? That this is the server Django server, and /rehab at Plone, we do all requests to Django. The reason is that we have this part. Django is identifying the URL structure of your rehab section. Plone knows nothing about URL structure, about the hierarchy there. All the logic is on for rehabs section is on Django side. If we would try to serve the other way around, we would just get no found pages from Plone. We didn't want to change that too much. That's URL router default in Plone. So we made this complex structure when we had to replicate. In Django, we had to replicate full HTML template of Plone, like we have a Plone, so we can be like looking the same way. I will talk a couple more slides later on templating. So this was the main reason. Django identified the URL structure, the content hierarchy for rehab section. That's why requests should go straight to Django, and then which will pull extra blocks from Plone. Any questions so far? On the data side, rehab data was obviously stored in Django, all the other data in Plone. Experts, news items, and everything. For rehabs data in DjangoDB, content manager had to log in and use standard default Django admin side. And for all the other content, of course, they used nice Plone UI for managing this. So they had two places to use. That was the kind of side effect. How we implemented users and authentication. Since the very beginning of this project, we had LDAP directory because client was also sorting some blocks, multiple projects, so we had LDAP directory. So we already had something predefined. We had this custom sign-up login screen, which was part of the projects long before this SSI includes thing started. We had custom things, so all the sign-up and login authentication being done by the Plone side. How we made this work? Basically, we had LDAP directory, which was also that Plone Django also had an access to. So we had kind of LDAP directory, and Plone and Django can talk to them and get all the data, tokens, open sessions. And on the other side, we had same URL /rehab, and which will basically work in a way. So we get same cookies, same sessions, both opened on Django, and on as soon as I click the login here, we will get necessary cookies in browser, which will be shared with Plone and Django at the same time. So that's how we did very little. We basically integrated Django with LDAP directory in specific way, and all the heavy lifting was done. My account thing inside was working for both Django, and Plone knew that user is authenticated and what kind of user. That was the task. So it might sound like quite complex thing, but because we are been serving using LDAP directory plus same domain, it revealed to be a pretty simple thing. Theme templating wise, styles, things, that was the Django template. And in Django template, apart from other blocks, we also had these resources custom view, which return all the resources, CSS and JavaScript from Plone resource registers tool. So the task from client was, I don't want to manage styling, theming into different systems. So what we did, we kept the layout in Django in similar markup for general layout, but we also pulled all the CSS and JavaScript from Plone. So whenever I want to style page in Plone or page coming from rehabs directory from Django, I've been basically editing same JavaScript file in the on the Plone side, uploading, doing deployment, and it will work for both websites because we are sharing all things here. We didn't want to have two theme templates for Django and for Plone. So that was kind of very easy to implement. The only downside, yeah, when you really need to kind of keep in sync these structures in Django base template with a base template in Plone. I was pretty fast. So was it worth it? Duration of such a project, for us it took a couple of weeks because we had a lot of pages in Django and Plone to adapt to that. But for a smaller project, it can take only a few days, and you will be done with such an integration. If you want to have complex function which doesn't fit any CMS, but more like framework like Django. Performance is great, and Nginx does the heavy lifting. It's really super fast. Also, very good point here is you don't need any new technology to learn. Server-side includes is like page template language, very similar, right? Or Django template language. And it's only like infrastructure decision, basically, right? So we don't need to learn anything new. If you would pick React or Volta, we still have to know and learn React and rewrite everything. Here we just used everything without reinventing the wheel. And Sao was happy because it was Nginx cooking everything on server because it's server-side includes. And for front end, nobody knows how we put that rehabs page together based on two systems. Of course, there are some downsides of this approach. First of all, this is tight coupled to the infrastructure. If you change from Nginx to Apache or front-end server, you have to change the syntax. Maybe you have some server that doesn't support server-side include, so it's a bit of mix. A bit of your logic kind of lays on the server. It's not the best kind of pattern or design pattern like for the infrastructure. Of course, it's harder to debug because we have this flow, this to Django, Django back to Plone. Of course, when things break, you in the process of development, it's harder to find the cause of the problem. Like whenever you try to integrate with any other APIs or these systems together, it's always harder to debug. So that's also the side effect here. Also, caching per user, if you need to speed up things, a bit trickier here because you have this user session is on Django side, on Plone side. We also experimented with that. We did that, but it's a bit more advanced. Again, if you need that, you will have to play a bit longer than just without server-side includes. So it's not something you would do every day, but we did it once, and unfortunately we didn't have an opportunity to apply this approach second time. So usually how we do that? When we do first time, we do production-ready system, but it's only there for this project. When you have second request like that, usually what do you extract that to open source library and then share with everybody. We didn't have opportunity to do that, so I don't have, unfortunately for you, some link on GitHub for you to reuse. Instead, if anybody of you really want to try this approach, you can email me or scan the same email, and I will share some snippets of specific code from the project without giving up any details of the project, and you can try on your own if there's such an opportunity. Yeah, so questions, reminding about tomorrow's talk one more time, and I'm done with my presentation. Any questions?
Yes, questions. Okay, here we go.
So you mentioned that it was harder to debug. Just a question around that. Why was it specifically harder? And then I might kind of know the answer on that. Is the Nginx SSI difficult to set up in the Nginx config?
Let's say you have an error on the Plone view, and this will show you the error, which will go through that, then through this. So we have like 3 nodes now cooking your page, and you need to find out. It's not super hard. If you're an experienced developer, you will find, but yeah, you have more things in your stack, in your requests, more steps. So the more steps you have, the harder it gets to the root of the. Do you know we have these tracebacks in Plone, and maybe we had 10 years ago when I was actually programming. When you have such an error, you have no idea where it comes from, some ID or something like it comes back to ZOP 2, ZOP 3, 5, and you have full stack of legacy things in Plone and ZOP, right? So that's very similar here. You're adding extra layers of complexities. With every extra layer, it's a bit harder to debug. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Other questions? Okay.
Because of this complex situation, did you have to ensure high availability on your services to make sure that the errors are less? Because I'm thinking, what if like Plone has a timeout, or what if Django responds more like harder? Does it mean like because of this combination, you had to improve performance a lot?
Like, basically, you asked me 2 different questions. One is performance, one is how stable was the system, right? Performance was okay because Nginx is fast, Django was fast, and Plone was, a lot of things were cached there. It was very good in performance. But of course, when it comes to reliability of the system, in this project we never implemented kind of zero downtime deployments or anything. So and we added 1 more node to the system, right? In this we have failure. This thing can fail, this node, and this node can fail. You have 2 points of failure. If any of these fail, you are failed. Of course, you can set up 2 servers with 2 Nginx, 2 servers with Plone syncing, ZODB, master, slave. And then if one Plone goes down, second one will mirror and will reply and balance out, right? And now we're adding 3rd node. Logically, we have 3 nodes, and now we have 1 extra thing that will fail. Without mirrors on each level, we have now 30% more probability the system is like down. If this is down, or this, whole system will be down unless we implement mirrors on each level. So yeah, of course, the system, the more nodes we have in the system, the less reliable that will be, less stable. Yeah, that's true.
Okay. And do you use caching like Varnish somewhere?
Yeah, with Plone we've been using, but for rehab section we didn't need any caching. It was fast. Django was super fast.
So you're not having caching before Nginx, but on Plone there?
Nginx, we had Varnish also, but we only implied, we had this before even this project started, always for Plone specific pages, and it didn't change because we introduced a new section which was going to Django, and that path was without Varnish. So we didn't do any caching for Plone. We didn't for Django side. We never needed that because Django was giving us answers very quickly.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, welcome.
Okay, thank you, Vitaly.
Thank you for your time and attention.